afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, another amazing Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero Psych, Defender of the Farland, Protector of the Skies, Lord of the Sun. Anyways, off here to 1 vs 1 on Langraskaya. In the north, we got Gmad and Jaeger fighting here for the Soviet Union, Socialism, Comrade Stalin, and the 5th Mechanized Corps tasked with breaching through this area in the somewhere in Poland. There's in the south, we got 101st Airborne fighting for the Oberkommando of Germany, Deutschland, fighting here for the Hammergering Fallschirmjaeger, tasked with protecting this part of the sector and throwing back any Russian attackers. We got Luftwaffe Ground Forces, Fortifications, and Elite Armored, not a spec ops in sight. Triple Infantry versus Armoured Assault, got Motor and Shock Army with Triple Infantry there as well. Double full scores here for 101st Airborne. Note his Sturmpaniers are quickly gliding towards the usual suspected fuel point his opponent's going to go for. So 101st Airborne here, aiming for a more disruptive opening, trying to that way throw off his opponent's economy, maybe his first movements, maybe even rattle him sufficiently so his later moves are actually less efficient because he gets frustrated very fast because of this. Maybe it's not likely to happen, we'll see. Double conscript for Gmad, noting here by the way, he has not gone for special rifle command, instead he's going for the conscript heavy build. Versus the Oberkommandist, it's less common, but it's definitely doable. But it does require you to have a pretty good handling of conscripts and how to fight engagement, in particular versus Sturmpaniers. You generally want to have a minimum of 2 conscripts versus 1 Sturmpanier squad, and generally fight them at range to win this, otherwise the Sturmpaniers will beat your city. But in this case, he's holding a fuel point, making much easier for the conscript to deal with them at range, plus we got the engineers flanking in. 101st Airborne reads the situation, quick retreats, preserving his men for the glory of Germany. Well, except for Helmut, he was a bit slow. Alright men, we will all hide behind the sandbags. Why everybody does. Alright, we all go. How about taking the point? Just shut up. No, again, he's very much focusing on having the disrupt. He's barely taking any territory himself, so depending on this goes, this could either work out well or less well. We have to see here what Gmad does next. Alway digging around his opponent's fuel point. 4 conscript builder there for Gmad. Again, not very common versus the Oberkommandist, but again, can be really potent in the hands of the right player because it's much more flexible, much faster, and much in some ways more aggressive than the penal trooper builds. But again, it does require a bit more deft hand, since conscripts in terms of engagement power can be a bit tricky to gauge versus Sturmpaniers and Volksgrenadiers. Certainly something I know from personal experience, but again, once you got the hang of it, you can usually do reasonably well. Though it also, to a slight extent, depends on the maps. Maps, as you'll say, more narrow and filled with more choke points, you generally want to go for penal troopers in anyways. Full to the rushing head, a massive assault here from 101st Airborne, his men charging at the conscripts. Raw 4C being 101st Airborne's basic battle plan here. Getting a lot of conscripts down, forcing away, and not taking a single casualty so far, so that's pretty good. In fact, he's only lost a single Sturmpanier so far. He's actually fighting us reasonably efficient. We got Gmad here rushing towards the Koch point as 101st Airborne is taking territory elsewhere. No truck yet, so he's got no Brandhand Granate, though that is on the way here. Full Volksgrenadiers is 1 Sturmpanier is 4 conscripts, 1 engineer. Heavy skirmishing here, normal also up for Gmad either to deny cover, though he is getting them. That's very good, very good. We can do this, comrades! We can do this! Keep shooting! Keep shouting! Oda! There we go, he's going to pop the mortar here, he's going to deny the cover there to 101st Airborne. Of course, he's slowly bleeding out. He's a bit outnumbered, outgunned. To put him on, of course, more troops pouring in this close to the base. In the south here, we've got conscripts might try and flank and harass 101st Airborne in return. More casualties, more corpses just piling up here. By the calf point, country squad almost wiped out. Merle also nagging around here. He certainly has to be fast about it. And it's not happening, it's not happening. Oh dear, there we go, it's happening. Got Volksgrenadiers flanking up here. There we go, straight onto the Volksgrenadiers there, lighting them up. Like the Reichstag. And with that, the engagement also being won here at a huge cost to both sides. In the end, Gmad prevails for the motherland. Many of you will die, but that is a sacrifice I am willing to make, so I do not end up in Gulag. And there we go. That's the payoff there for Gmad. A white pin on 101st Airborne in the early game. That's definitely going to hurt the Germans. Battle Group Headquarters is going up, but still that is 250 manpower down without any sort of appreciable territorial gains. And that's great here for Gmad. That is solid. Troops reinforcing healing, and we got Airborne. We got Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine. Not a doctrine we've seen a lot lately where there's been a lot of spec ups, but clearly 101st Airborne appreciates the subtler nuances of Oberkommando's play, in this case, possibly Fallschirmjaegers. I'd certainly love to see some of those, as they are some very interesting, again, very potent units, but they do, again, require a bit more wiser handling to sort of really get the most out of them, in particular, a bit like, you know, conscripts. which is probably why I'm not seeing as much usage. But there you go, Molotov against the Fultons of the advance, straight into the cover there. Nice work here by Gmad, doing a lot of damage quickly to the Fulton grenadiers. Very potent AoE weapon. That, of course, while it doesn't directly do a ton of damage right away, it can still, burn, bleed, and it will just make things more comfortable. In addition, he just denies cover. You can see that runs into the cover, tries to grab, and instead, it's almost losing the entire Fulton squad already. So this is great there for Gmad. On top of the other Fultons ran through, getting weakened. Still, 101st Airborne here, trying to keep up the aggressive assaults here. Rapid, furious, zealous for the fatherland. His men here pouring at the carve point, desperately trying to overcome the Russian scourge, but they're not quite overcoming Gmad's zealous defense of the motherland. Well, what's about to become the motherland, anyways. Sturmpioneer is good to go. Most 101st Airborne's enemy ballet is extremely depleted. That means he's going to have quite some off time. Also means Gmad's going to be able to gain a territorial advantage quite a bit there because he's already got most counts at full strength. 101st Airborne got, I would say, rather too aggressive, rather spirited, and has rather been beaten still. He's got quite a black nose here from Gmad. Field gun following up here for Gmad and the Red Army. The SIS-3. He's obviously expecting some sort of light vehicle, probably anticipating mechanized regiment, since that is what a lot of Overcommerce players go for, and it looks like certainly something he does not like. But there you go, instead we got the Luftwaffe sending in its mighty Fallschirmjaeger. Dropping in here by the northern fuel point, seeing the same things happening on the front line. 101st Airborne strikes where his opponent does not expect it. Cheeky. Pietrov, what's that? I believe it's an aircraft. Oh, I've never seen one of those before. The Fallschirmjaeger going about here. No, the Russians did have paratroopers as well, but by late 1944-45, they generally didn't have a lot of them. They rather, shall we say, wasted a lot of them on more fruitless engagement or operations during 1942-43, where a lot of them basically ended up acting as partisans because the operations failed badly because they got dropped into poor positions and they sort of had to act behind enemy lines. But still, Fallschirmjägers here with lots of FT-42 steam engineers charging in at them, doing heavy damage with FT-42s, which is actually a light machine gun. That sort of was multifunctional, but in essence could be argued as as a battle rifle, I suppose. But little fun fact there. Normally the entire squad would not be equipped, and they'd be equipped like well-armed machine guns, so 1 or 2 per squad. Later in the war they would have gotten MG42s. Still a remarkable piece of machinery. Up here, contra, they are assaulting the Fallschirmjägers. Great numbers here. Fallschirmjägers doing what they can with FT-42s, but in this case they are being overwhelmed. They are forced away here by Gmad. Again, I'd say 480 manpower, only did with 380 manpower isn't too bad here. Plus, it did slow down Gmad's fuel income a bit, though. Gmad still notably ahead. Going for max, made a deal with 101st Airborne's aggressive tactics. We got assault lines up for the Fulton Grenadiers. So good. Down to just 2 Fallschirmjägers at low health. We got the medics ready to patch them up. Push here. Gmad strikes for the motherland behind an old wheel cart. Everybody behind the wheel cart, but there's not enough room for everybody. Just pretend you're behind it. It'll work out, I'm sure of it. The fascists are a bit cross-eyed, and some of them have poor depth perception. Maximum opening up on the Fulton Grenadiers as they try to avoid constant flanking. Very nice over there by Gmad. Quickly forcing away the Fulton Grenadiers. Fallschirmjaeger makes it to go there. 3 kills, close to veterans 1. Of course, it's first with other veterans levels to sort of begin really getting stuff there. Of course, again, it's veteran 3. Sort of again they get really bad, good, and of course veteran 5. I mean, they're in fact one of the few Oberkommand veterans. In fact, the only Oberkommand, one of the few Oberkommand units that actually gain aggressive bonuses beyond, say, the first 3 veterans levels. The Sturmpioneers is the other unit. Most others pretty much only get a bonus there, I think, around veteran 2. Otherwise, it's just stuff to make them more survivable. But the Fallschirmjägers gain still appreciable offensive bonuses as they veterans you up. So, fun note there. I think the Panzers also might get some, but I don't see them as much. Although, Fallschirmjägers are reinforcing. Another squad called in. He's going for 2 Fallschirmjägers? Good God. That is a lot of manpower being spent on this. He's definitely confident in his Fallschirmjäger handling. I mean, the average player would not be going for this in the current meta. They'd just be going for a lot of Fulton Grenadiers. Maybe if they're feeling really bold, some Obersoldaten. And there we go. Same spot the first squad was called in. Straight on the fuel point. Definitely not the sort of usage of Fallschirmjägers you normally see either. I mean, most players just drop them close to the front line, but 101st Airborne is actually calling them to harass specifically points. That is really cool there to see. Nice spirited play then. Exemplary usage there. An inspiration to all Oberkommanders players everywhere. We salute you, 101st Airborne. At least I do. I don't know about the others. They might have their hands blown off by now. Anyways, Fallschirmjäger there versus the Maxim. Hold up behind heavy cover. The Maxim is not having a fun time here. The FT-42's laying down an impressive volume of fire. The Conch coming in there. Not concerned with the casualties. Their comrades suffer. There we go. Molotov off force out to the open. Of course, that only gets the Fallschirmjägers with FT-42s closer, which does not increase the conscript chances of surviving this on their own appreciably. Fallschirmjäger squad number 1 there, running back for reinforcement healing. Already they're certainly taking quite a bashing here from Gmad. And the 5th Mechanized Corps. He's yet to take up, by the way. They'll match on to be with a manpower blue in this regard. The Fallschirmjägers are causing quite a bit of grief there to Gmad. Well, one of them is. The other one is, well, hasn't done too much kill. But still. Still, again, note how 101st Airborne is consistently very aggressive harassing his opponent's fuel here. Which is, of course, really important. It's actually something you should not rarely see though against a northern player on Langraskaya. Most players will not try and harass this fuel point. I think it's something to do with the map's layout, which just psychologically causes this. And certainly something that might be worth considering for future map design is just to try and actually consider player psychology in these things. Folks have been tracked by Conscripts Max. Now, West here, folks is backed up by Sturm Pioneers. Gmad's Frontovics there will soon find themselves overwhelmed and forced away. Tank 10 coming up, that'll probably be a fast T-70 here versus 101st Airborne. Or he could even try and just feel really bold and push for a fast T-30-45. I mean, he's got the resources for it, roughly. We'll see here. Of course, that would give 101st Airborne more time to bring up some of his own. But there you go. Track on the way, that's like with the schwer punted quarters. I mean, he can't exactly allow himself to go for mechanized regiment and calling it Command Panthers. And, you know, he's gone for the other doctrine. Field gun fires there. Fallschirmjäger's Maxim here. In this case, though, Otto and Ludwig sticking heads out a bit too far and a quick suppress here by the Maxim. Rapidly forced away. Sandbags up here behind the light cover. Nice trick there. And here we got Fallschirmjäger's halfway to the two as the conscripts there. Trading very efficiently. Truck a bit more to go for and gets up for the schwerer panzert quarters. Conscripts see up close and on their own. I mean, with the Molotovs, the conscript now have a chance, but I would say the Volksgrenadiers, unless of course they do not move, should have the advantage. And there you go. Actually, pretty slow, so the conscript should have a good chance here versus the Volksgrenadiers. And this is why Molotovs are really important, because in close quarters actions, they can usually just give you a bit of an edge there for your conscripts. Plus, of course, just an eye cover, which of course is an advantage in its own. Yup, we got the Mechanized Company going up here for Gmad and the 5th Mechanized Corps. Big push here for the fuel point once more. 101st Airborne very consistent about this. He's trying to just buy himself as much time as possible to bring out his own armour, slow down Gmad's armours, of course. Fuel harassment here is really important, particularly he's been harassed a lot himself, and, well, he can't build fuel caches. Which rather necessitates this, and we see here the Gmad starting to get experience with this, so he's already been moving up the Maxim to deal with this. Love to see if 101st Airborne can deal with it. We'll handle this. Maxim moving up. Skirmishing on the west. We've got Fallschirmjäger, jump over the conscript there in the centre. Fallschirmjäger, the conscript there. Heavy damage here. We could see a small chance. What there you go. Veteran 2 gained. Other squad pushed away. Nice work there though by 101st Airborne. For the most part though, Gmad is certainly also showing some good sides off. Big 2 points wise is definitely Gmad's in the lead besides fuel. And there we go, he's not far off from the T-45 either. And of course this is where 101st Airborne has a rather big issue, because he has no anti-tank weapons. As some of the sharp you might have noticed. No Panzerschrecks, no Raketenwerfers. I mean, at most he's got Panzerfausts to try and stop his opponent. Theoretically, he'll try and launch a raid here on the field gun, maybe with his Fallschirmjäger steal it. But, well, let's see if that happens. Though, of course, Armoured Assault combined with a pair of Fallschirmjäger squads rushing it could work out. Bit of an overlooked ability as well, to be honest. For some missions, you do get quite a bit of bang for your buck. Fallschirmjägers waiting up there by the northern point. for any unsuspecting Russians to pass by and become prey. Again, units flanking up here. Sadly though, in this case the situation quickly turns from favourable to horrible here for 101st Airborne as the fighting is quickly surrounded and outnumbered, and we just quickly retreat to realising this engagement is no longer going to be any way useful for him, so rather than trying to somehow make it work for him, he just retreats and preserves his men as much as possible. That's the right choice there, by the way. Sometimes players might feel tempted to keep fighting even when the odds are against them, and that's usually a bad idea. Conscripts Fallschirms joining in there, heavy assault rifle fire and battle rifle fire against the conscripts. Back kicking reinforcement going on there for 101st Airborne. Gmad's T-55 is almost done. There we go, concentrating against the Fallschirmjaegers. Charging ahead there, they are slowly dropping like flies. Heavy damage being inflicted there with the Fallschirmjaeger Gewehrs. 5 damage being done there, Fallschirm moving up here, others moving towards the fuel point again. He's going to have to go for the Kedmethers though. And that's going to be his first encounter with the T-35. Gmad moving in almost by reflex towards the point. Got Kedmether on the way. And with the T-35 on the field, he probably has to go for a Panther. Yak Panther are always just going to lose to that, more or less, in most circumstances. Particularly with the field gun on the field, and I would say the overall size of the map. The T-35 is very favoured, so Panther's going to be necessary. Better armour, better health, better penetration, better looks. Well, not really. Folks being pushed back by the T-45. Hitting points over here. And there you go, like Kedmeth for that, 101st Airborne. Like Kedmeth was generally used in Fallschirmjaeger units and Gebirgsjäger units, I guess. Since, it's a supportable anti-tank weapon. Overall, not a lot of them were produced, and they were, they basically fell out in favour in the form of the Panzerschreck, which is just overall better in most ways due to being easier to move about. The only advantage of the Kedmeth for hat was just had more range than the Panzerschreck. T-44 hunting down the Fallschirmjägers, obviously prioritising things right here. Big push into these tier 101st Airborne, Fallschirmjäger, Sturm Pioneers, Brandhand Grenade off, Maxim nowhere near to be seen. Of course, got the T-44 from constantly in the trouble. We got a bomb grenade off in note, by the way, he's blocking off one door, and there you go, baits him onto the other door, wiping them. An absolutely amazing throw here by 101st Airborne, blowing apart Gmad's conscript, being probably a bit mad. Skirmishing in the west, we got conscript units moving in though. Overall, aligning into a bigger push into 101st Airborne's western territories, going for his fuel most likely. Good push there in the centre, push up through the car pot, catching the Kedmeth off guard. That's going to force retreat, I think, for 101st Airborne. He's still some time off from a Panther. Hitting enforcement. And then go to the car pot here with the Schwerer Panzer Quarters, or Hauptquartier. 10 kills here, and 22 kills on the second Fallschirmjaeger squad. They've really done some serious work, and they're about to hit Vetchney 3, which is where they get the first offensive boost. And then at Vetchney 5, they gain more range and accuracy. And the Fallschirmjaeger is actually one of the few units that gains range on veterancy. That is, infantry units. In fact, I think also just overall units, most armoured vehicles also removed. There's also Oberkommandist vehicles, by the way, since that was deemed too good. I kind of like that person, but I can understand it. Anyways, Fallschirmjaeger being suppressed here by the Maxim. Need to retreat those fast. Unless, of course, he's planning on flanking with the... They shouldn't get a wipe here. Could have combined, I think, with the Armoured Assault, but seems like he decided not to. T-44 moving in with no real anti-tank ones. He doesn't have, I think, Panzerschrecks and the Sturm Pioneers, which could help a bit. Interesting enough, it is worth noting that Gmad has not been mining at all, maybe simply due to the sheer mobility of the battlefield so far. It hasn't given him much time to do it. Oh, the Sturm Pioneers about to get wiped out. My apologies there, my apologies. Kedmethers there. Getting awesome hits. He's close to the Panther, though he is close to the Panther. Fallschirmjaegers pointlessly firing at the T-45. Keep shooting, but we elite infantry. We don't have anti-tank weapons. Why are we even doing this? We shouldn't be doing this. We're not false grenadiers. We certainly don't smell like them either. T-54 moving about there. The T-55 was an upgrade to the T-54-76, most in the form of the turret. The hull itself really did not receive any changes, mostly because they couldn't really afford to change a lot of the tools for that. Production was quite important, so it was primarily just the turret that sort of was changed there with a bigger gun, of course, more armor on the turret, more room for the crew and such. It's a little fun fact there, and a little fun fact there. Ground points here with the Fallschirmjaegers. Closing Infantry 3, we got the whole squad moving up here. Odds very close to Infantry 3, of course, that first offensive bonus, making them much more lethal. Against Conquest. Big push against these. I mean, we can see sort of 101st Airborne is very consistent, incredibly consistent pushing for the fuel again. He's sort of just constantly swinging about here, trying to find as many effective engagements as he can, and of course trying to slow down his opponent's economy, giving himself more time. And there we go, he's about to hit the Panther, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Also, a fun fact about the Hammergering Fallschirmpanzerdivision, besides its fun name, it was actually, despite being an elite panzer division, it actually had no armoured half-tracks, which is actually quite interesting, since one of the things that usually made an elite division was it usually had access to armoured half-tracks. In fact, it was only when it was formed into a full Panzer Corps with an additional Panzer Grenadier Division, like the Hammergering Fallschirmpanzer Grenadier Division 2, it actually received some armoured half-tracks, infantry units, but that was actually a separate battalion on the Corps level, and that was known as the Panzerfusilier-Abteilung. So a little fun fact there as well. But usually armoured half-tracks is one way you sort of check if the unit was really elite. For example, how the Großdeutschland was really elite, because every Panzer division, for example, battalion division during Normandy's initially actually was equipped with armoured half-tracks, which was really rare. It's a little fun fact there. Anyways, Panther on the way, the 101st Airborne, almost done. That's going to give the T-55 some issues. Of course, Gmad has been reasonably successfully there, and I would say comfortably so, going for the IS-2. Of course, he could have gone for another T-55 just to make himself really sure, probably should have, but consider the situation, I can understand it. But of course, Panther versus T-55, the Panther has the advantage. Of course, once the IS-2 hits, things are looking a bit better for the Panther. The Panzerkampfwagen 5. Pride of the Vaterland. Go for it, Ludwig! I want to see the Russian Panzer in flames! Panther quickly falling back here, playing it safe. Doesn't want to get up with the damaged engine in a bad spot. He might also just be hoping to bait out the T-35, and there you go. Oh, Fallschirm squad wiped. In fact, he's just down to one, and he's also gone for a third Fallschirmjaeger squad, meaning he's got 3 Fallschirmjägers. That is a lot of firepower, but also a lot of manpower bleed. The thing to keep in mind about Fallschirmjägers, one reason most people don't use them, is they're actually quite expensive to reinforce. 36 manpower, meaning if you lose 3 squad members of the squad, that is, roughly 117 manpower. A bit more than what you gain in a minute, or half a minute. So that's certainly something worth keeping in mind there. And if you end up losing too many of them in point engagements, you can end up quickly bleeding yourself out and not being able to go for anything else. That's really important to keep in mind. But there you go. IS-2 out here for Gmad and the 5th Mechanized Corps. Fallschirmjaeger push here. Comes down to heavy fire from the Fallschirms. The FT-42s blazing down with lead. Other Fallschirm squad here in the east needs to retreat soon. Those versus an IS-2 is not a favourable engagement. There you go. Half the unit obliterated before the roar of the IS-2 and its 122mm cannon. Academy moving up, Panther moving in. Shoots, misses. Fallschirmjaeger close being right now, a bit of a loss here for 101st Airborne. Both Panther and Academy bounce off the IS-2's thick frontal armour. T-54 running there, go direct hit here from the Panther. Academy could also land and hit. There you go, penetrating hit from the field gun. And a hit from the IS-2. Academy obviously is a bit exposed here. Sending some tense armor engagements here. Veterinary 4 Fallschirmjägers, meaning they're not far off from Veterinary 5, which is where they get really good. Fallschirmjägers being overwhelmed. Popping an incendiary grenade here versus the Russian Maxim gun. Panther being the contribution machine guns, reasonably good work there. Victory points wise, things looking a bit grimmer here for now. 101st Airborne is down 172 versus Gmad's 372. That's a bit of a difference there. About 200. And certainly has to be a bit more careful about that. He's also got a lot of ammunition, is not using it. Theoretically, in a good push with the Panther and Valiant Assault could probably do a lot of damage. Say, Fallschirmjaeger suddenly appear out of here, quickly clear out the field gun. Other forces then make use of the Valiant Assault to quick rush out, grab the field gun. He could maybe pull off some antics with that here against Gmad. Of course, he could theoretically just lock it down with a Sturmwing attack. And I imagine 101st Airborne, if he's considering the Valiant Assault plan, is probably aware of that. Those Fallschirmjaegers, by the way, need to retreat. They're not going to last against that ice. What? The devil? He's going for a 4th squad? That is bonkers. That is 4 380 manpower squads with, yet again, quite a pricey upkeep price here. I mean, of course, there's going to be a lot of firepower. It's going to be quite a threat to the Gmad's conscripts, but that is still pretty ambitious in a lot of ways. Panther versus IS-2 backed up with conscripts and Sturm Pioneers. Got minesweepers up here, probably help with repairs. Panther gaining mentions you want. In these, T for the wing rushed by the T for the fight. Well, Fallschirmjaeger's being rushed by it. Others being pushed back here. Panther is veterans you want, opening up for the combat blitz ability. Nice to see Gmad actually using the T for the 5's capture ability here. Rather overlooked ability, but it's nice to see one who understands the power of it. Certainly highlights and made I think a bit of a sharper so player. That of course he actually uses conscripts as the Oberkommando vest. Certainly marks him out there as one of the sharper ones. There we go, flanking the IS-2 shot though either fails to hit or penetrate. Either way, no damage onto the IS-2. Fallschirmjaeger's going back to the conscript. We need to fix up the Panther here. Troops healing, reinforcing. And no attempt at Panther faster than the IS-2. Need to be careful though. Close to getting wiped out. Troops healing, reinforcing. Got that IS-2 rolling back, got the Fallschirmjaeger rolling up, got the T-55 there close to veteran C2. But it's only a problem there for 101st Airborne, so that makes of course shoot faster. Katyusha on the way for Gmad to help deal with all the infantry, a bold move. They'll probably go for another tank since the way 101st Airborne plays, it's not frightfully static, meaning it's not going to present a lot of great targets for the Katyusha rocket launcher, to be honest. There you go, T-55 getting veteran C2. Look at this, Pedro, we can shoot faster! Yes, because I'm loading faster. These things weigh a ton! And there you go, that's his remaining Fallschirmjaeger squad. Gone. He's using only Fallschirmjaegers now here versus Gmad. Wow. Panther moving back here, field can push back, but the Panther's going to go for it. There we go, combat blitz, which I should note, by the way, increases the rate of fire, as well as the speed here briefly for the Panther. So that actually makes the Panther more, suited for flanking and attacking aggressively. Kind of wish the Bernard version also gave that. It actually used to way back, but they removed it for some reason. Anyways, Panther down, took out the T-55, nice work here, 101st Airborne, and the Hammond going, Fallschirm Panther is shown hitting the field plan in the west. Panther approaching veteran to their solution, Panther rushing up here. Lots of air support in, both players called in almost at the exact same time here. Panther going for the IS-2, almost 32 here, gaining your Schutzen. There we go, veteran 2 up at the Panther's almost down. This is really risky, honestly, for 101st Airborne. There we go, main gun out. Get out, get out. Scheiße, Otto, we need to get out of here, otherwise we'll be scrapped like everybody else. Fallschirmjaeger squad, they're close to veteran 5. One other one is slowly approaching as well. So that's 2 veteran 4 Fallschirmjaeger squads. There you go, a bit of shooting here. Kanon and Vogel making some light damage. Got a Katyusha barrage off here, probably against the central victory point of the Fallschirmjaeger here. Oh, he retreats there wisely. Would be an absolute, say, brutal loss, like the words to suffer those casualties here. Half dragon on for Gmad, likely to A, help deal with the infantry, but also counter 101st Airborne's airborne assaults. Stream parts getting to work, then the Panther, which is in dire need of some repairs. Oh, Fallschirmjaeger's executed. Bad news, that 101st Airborne, that is 380 manpower gone in the blink of an eye. Of course, still has his almost elite Fallschirmjaegers here ready. Or his aces, can I also call them that. Anyways, Fallschirmjaeger up against the conscripts in the east here. Fallschirmjaeger's up in the maximum, pushing them away. Pushing out there. Fixing up the Panther. Troops enforcing. IS-2 there on the go again here for Gmad. Fallschirmjaeger's holding up. He needs to be careful though. Halfway to Veteran 2-5 though. Panther running back up. Will he go for another Panther? I mean, 2 Panthers versus the IS-2 would be pretty solid for him. No reinforcements here, so might have something else planned. Fallschirmjaeger's going to need to retreat soon. It'll be a shame here for 101st Airborne to waste almost 25 Fallschirmjägers. IS-2 misses spectacularly. Veteran 3 Shield Punch forwards right into the maximum, noting here by his brought up a second max up deal with all the infantry and the way 101st Airborne's playing it. Very good. Panthers going to get for an extra hit on the IS-2, but fails to penetrate. Fallschirmjaeger's by super close 55. Not retreating though. What are you doing? Scheiße. Close one there. Big 2 points. He's down to 55 here versus Gmad 365. This is going to get really dicey. Panther versus the IS-2 up close and ugly. Taking our damage as well from the field gun. Pretty risky stuff here. Panther slowly approaching Veteran 3. IS-2 slowly approaching Veteran 2. Now the loss or hit there on both. 50 points left here for 101st Airborne. He's going for a Panther 4 now. Probably helping with the Infantry. Of course, doesn't help as the IS-2, so it's a bit risky here in some ways. Hit there from the Panther. Slowly approaching Victory 3. Grabbing the western victory point here again. Other eastern one being seized. Creeping up with the Panther. Get off another hit on the IS-2. 101st Airborne is playing a high-risk game here. High risk, high stakes, high rewards, but also high penalties. Anyways, either for... Oh, snot biscuits. Shots either failed to penetrate or missed. That was incredible. Had both of those shots penetrate. That could actually have been the Panther down. So that was ridiculously, absurdly risky there. But 101st Airborne, to be honest, that was not a wise move. And he got ridiculously lucky. On the other hand, he's about to get punished here. He did not retreat. He lost a Veteran 5 Fallschirmjaeger score. That is a staggering loss there for him. Not something he can afford at this stage. We've got the Fallschirmjaeger flanking in here. About to Veteran 5. But they also hit the half track, which quickly puts down their aspirations of victory. Still 2 Panzers out here versus Gmad's IS-2, Katyusha and half-track. Of course also has the field gun. Sadly, no usage of Valiant Assault here by 101st Airborne. I do feel a bit disappointed in that. It is, you know, if well timed, a potent ability, and we got Gmad here going for the H5 to help back up against the vile fascist tanks. And do not worry, comrades, with these H-35s, we will deal with these so-called Panthers easily. Are you sure? Yes. Otherwise, you can talk with my assistant, Corporal Punishment. He will be more than happy to enlighten you. Fallschirmjaeger's going to need to retreat. The Kevin lands nicely in the half-track. If he does move it fast enough, that's going to go down here. In the West, Panther 4 versus a throng of conscripts. Half-track down here. Panther 4 so far having rubbish accuracy here. We got more Fallschirmjägers called in. And again, on the field point, it's almost like he's just marked it out as a landing spot. Like he just lied to the Luftwaffe and said, don't worry, this area, it's totally safe. No actions about. You can just keep calling in men there. I've totally got it under control. Panther against the IS-2. Shot hit there, needs to be careful. Then St. got air support called in. Now the half-track is down. Damaged engine. Luftwaffe strikes for the fatherland. Sadly, it's with machine guns and not Fezzan cannons. 25 points left here. Things getting pretty dicey for 101st Airborne. And the Hammond going Fallschirm Pumps shown here versus Gmad and the 5th Mechanized Corps, which is at 365. That is certainly quite a difference. At least we've got Falcon going here for the victory point. Field gun hammering away there. Air support landing on the IS-2, almost taken out here with the 3rd cannons. Which of course is really only what you need to attack from above, since most tanks do not have the thick top armor, which is also what made them vulnerable to artillery. It's a little fun fact there. Panzer IV, they're parked by the western point. Theoretically, just try and building flank emplacement, of course, could risk losing that, and just the opponent uses the flank emplacement against him, but it's an option. Got the victory point. He's down to 13 versus the 364 of Gmad. It's got one ace Fallschirmjaeger squad here. Hardened men who've seen much combat, many horrors, much borscht, and much knackwurst. Panther being slowly fixed up. Super close to Veteran 3 though, which of course means high mobility and high rate of fire, which is going to be solid versus the R2 and other vehicles. Of course, the problem is he's going to have because the opponent's going to have quite a concentrated anti-tank strong point here with the issue-5, the field gun, and of course the R2 backing it up. Here, fighting against the field gun now, slowly approaching Veteran 3 as well. Big push here into the ace Fallschirmjägers. There we go. We got air support called in here. Contra being shredded in a matter of seconds here. The Fallschirmjägers show no mercy. They take no prisoners. But look, so does the Red Army Air Force 9, but that's mostly because it's pretty difficult to fit anyone into their aircraft cockpit. But there you go, almost got a white pierce, small victory for 101st Airborne. Another Panzer IV though. He's going to go for 2 Panzer IVs and a Panther plus the Fallschirmjägers here versus Gmad. That's going to be an interesting unit competition here. Very interesting. Panther flying at the aircraft, zooping about there. Maximum standing about here, troops here reinforcing. IS-2 is almost good to go again. It's almost Veteran 2. So how is 101st Airborne going to do this? A good flank from either side here could probably do a lot versus Gmad. As for Gmad, I mean, if he can just somehow get control all victory points at the same time, he more or less wins. Panthering about him bait. Maybe he's trying to bait in the issue 5, but so far he's not got really much. I'll just bring the trap with. We've got the second Panther 4 moving in here. Puts him at 3 Panzers. Katyusha, by the way, has so far done no killing. Again, the problem is just versus the way that 101st Airborne is playing. It's not particularly effective. It is not particularly effective. Panther 4, Panther moving in here. Oh, Panther 4 almost going down. Other Panther 4 should be taking there. Go, we got a big push here. We got a big push. It's all or nothing. He's down to 8 points. Almost got the Asian 5 here. There we go. Asian 5 down. There's IS-2, Veteran 2. Fallschirmjägers here flanking. Quickly, Panther Faust. Panther there starting a shot. Field gun moving about. Need to rush with infantry. There we go. IS-2 taking heavy damage here. Panther blitzing. Again, Veteran 3 with combat blitz. Is going to have a high rate of fire here. There we go. One hit through here. IS-2 all the way down to less than half health. Intense duels here. Panther 4 shoots. Gain Veteran 2. Panther there almost got the IS-2 completely down. Takes a hit here. IS-2 drawing away from the field gun though. Of course, it also makes it hard for the tanks to catch up, but it also means the field gun can support. And there you go. The main gun is out. Katyusha's going to go down here to the Panther 4. And the Panther's going to take out the IS-2. There we go. Kaput. An absolutely devastating armor push. But 101st Airborne is down to just 2 Fallschirmjäger squads and 2 tanks. Admittedly, Gmad's just down to a few conscripts engineer, a maximum of field gun. But he's got a lot more victory points. Panther 4 about to go down, but Panther and Fallschirmjägers clear out the crew. And the Panther 4 goes down to an anti-tank grenade, leaving 101st Airborne with only a Panther and a few Fallschirmjäger squads. If Gmad can just rush the victory points and somehow hold them no matter the cost, he wins this. Well, that was one hell of an attack there for 101st Airborne. One hell of an assault. Quick bang grenade here to flush out the conscripts. He's standing his ground, but in vain the men get blown to bits. And he's not getting the bleed done. I mean, he can actually grab the point and ensure he doesn't lose. Gmad is down to next to nothing. His men are sundered. His vehicles slashed to pieces. The mighty Panther stands supreme with 19 kills. And the Fallschirmjägers with 38 kills. My God, I hope we get a few Knights crosses for this. My God, yeah. Hopefully one of the big ones. And he's charging into the forlorn hope there, if I ever saw one. Executed in brutal fashion. Dispatched with brutal efficiency by the Fallschirmjägers. And there we go, Gmad surrenders, having lost the fight. 101st Airborne stands supreme with his Fallschirmjaegers and his Panther. That was one hell of a match. Here's some absolutely impressive play there by 101st Airborne. Very solid stuff there. Nicely played there by both sides, but in the end, 101st Airborne, I think, was just a bit more sharp, and certainly also played pretty well. But of course, Gmad, I would say, going for a heavy conscript build with all that versus opponent was really clever as well. But I do feel like if you'd just gone for the T-7 first, you'd probably be able to catch out 1st Airborne either. Or if you'd gone for another T-55 before playing for the IH-2. But still, good play. And I suppose also the other final option, just not going for that Katyusha. The Katyusha doesn't feel like the biggest mistake in a sense, because like 101st Airborne was playing too fluid, too fast for the Katyusha to really find an effective target. Had just gone for another T-55 there as well. Who knows? But always, really intense stuff. The really excellent play. Nice to see some Fallschirmjaegers here on display. And of course, that Panther play as well was great. So overall, hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Share it with your friends, your family, but not your enemies. And of course, if you like, you can donate on with PayPal or Pledge and Patreon. Links in the video description. This is Imperial Links and cheers. Thank you for watching. You're all a wonderful audience. Hope to see you all tomorrow again for another episode. Bye.